on the 11th episode of the Reframe podcast, Dariush Soudi. Dariush is an entrepreneur and a business influencer who loves to build brands and teams to support them. He is an international speaker and trainer, but the real value is in how Dariush turned his life around to live a life of dreams. So let's get into the episode right away. If you get value out of the show, the best way to support me is to subscribe and share it with someone, whether it be in casual conversation or through social media. If you would like to connect with me, please tag me at FarrukhTalks, FarrukhTalks, FarrukhTalks on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Usually on the podcast, I share inspiring stories and motivation, and I have awesome guests who share their life's journeys and motivate you all to go out and live your dreams. But it's very rare that you come across a really fairy tale kind of story and meet an awesome person who has actually lived all those values and achieved so much of success. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. And I don't want to spend time talking about myself or the podcast because my guest today is very, very special, Mr. Dariush Soudi.
Farrukh, I'm honored. Thank you so much. I hope I live up to your build-up.
No, I loved the story. I love what you have done, how you have transformed yourself, and I hope that together we can share some of that
I'll be
listeners.
I'll be honored. Well, thank you so much for inviting me today.
Most
really
welcome.
appreciate
Most
it.
welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored.
So how about we, for our listeners' sake, how about you give a little bit of backstory? Of course, I know, but I would love my listeners to know more about you.
Sure. If you actually look back at my life, there's no reason why I should be here. There's no reason why I should be interviewed by you because I was not the fastest runner at school. I wasn't the strongest. I wasn't the smartest. I'm dyslexic. So there's absolutely no reason why I should be seen as somebody who's succeeded in life. I am Mr. Average or below average in possibly everything you could imagine. But I think the difference is that I like to think that my ego didn't blind me. So I'm always hungry to learn more. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what success really means, but I think it's just the ongoing process of self-improvement and development.
Yes.
So I think if anything, I probably read more than most people. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to look at myself and analyze every single thing I do every day more than most people. That's where I guess I'm different. Yeah. And also as a consumer, I've always been where I've become successful in business is where I've been always very sensitive towards the internal dialogue of myself as a consumer.
Right.
So whenever I look at businesses, I'm a business consultant.
Right.
To assist businesses in making more money is looking at internal dialogue of their customers. Yes. So if their internal dialogue of the customer improves, they should be able to make more money.
Of course.
So to answer your question, Mr. Average, willing to work harder than most people, extremely competitive, and yet I like to think humble because I do remember my past. I'm Iranian born, born in 1966 to I would say lower class family. But my mother, she always made me think I was richer than I was. So I always looked at first class flights like, why can't I fly first class? I won a piano scholarship at school. But I didn't qualify because I didn't have a piano. We couldn't afford a piano. So one day I was actually accepted for the scholarship, and the other day I was rejected because they found out we couldn't afford a piano. So, but my thought process was always, why not? Why not? Why can't I? It wasn't accepting that we're poor. So I always thought, why can't I?
Right.
And I think the results of your life, it depends on the quality of questions you ask yourself.
Yes, excellent. Yeah, because that's where you find the solution. That's the first step to improving yourself and finding the solutions to life.
It is. All the answers are within.
Yeah.
It's funny when I go and see clients, I say, what would you do if you had to reach this goal? And they say, I don't know. But I said, what if the life of the loved one is a game? What if the life of the loved one depends on it? And suddenly they come up with all the answers.
Yeah.
There is no negotiation when it's life or death. But then when it comes to day, most people live as though it's going to be living forever. But they don't realize how fragile life is and how precious time is.
So you went through some of those experiences?
Yeah, I lost my father when I was 4. My mom was very young. She was 23. My sister was 30 days old. And then we were taking care of my granddad. And then he passed away when I was 7. So 3 years later. So whatever, and I'm sure there's listeners who are actually worse off than I was. It's the funny thing is, I don't know if I was blessed or cursed. At the time I thought I was cursed, but throughout life I always realized how short time is and how fragile this life is. So even at age 7 or 8, I always counted down. So if I was going to be 80, how many days do I have to live? Because that day is getting closer. And as you get older, time becomes more precious.
Right.
So I had those deaths that made me realize that life's not forever. And I wish that everybody realized that.
Right.
But most of us are walking corpses, really. Unfortunately, we just go through life, paying bills, paying taxes.
It's a little bit sad.
It is. Because as natural things go, natural beings, we're the only, I would say, animals or natural beings that are levels of achievement can be unlimited. Right. Because we're given the power of choice. Right. But most people choose not to do much, choose to not to face the fears, choose to be lazy. I mean, I'm one of them when it comes to going to the gym. Yes, and it's constant internal dialogue. Watch what you eat. Go to the gym, lose weight. And it's the same with money. You know, who sets our limited beliefs when it comes to money? Yeah, who says that this guy can drive a Ferrari and you have to get the metro or catch a bus? Right. You know, or I'm born in Iran, or you born in Calcutta, or you born in Indonesia, or you born in Bangladesh. You're not there to be, to be successful. Who sets those? You know, geography that means nothing really, especially now with the power of the internet.
Yes.
I mean, look at your podcast and your reach throughout the world because of the internet. So there is no excuses now for us to be successful.
Yet, most of the people, like you said, don't want to get into that because they don't want to put in the extra effort.
And also, I think it's sorry, beg your pardon.
So I just wanted to connect that with you starting with a very humble beginning, and now, mashallah, you have a good, big enough business and lots of clients. You have really turned your life around. So the idea for the podcast is to share these stories so that my listeners and people get motivated to do something. Like you were saying, most of the people don't want to get into putting in the extra effort for themselves, not for others' sake, even for themselves. And we want to motivate them. I love to connect with people and motivate them to achieve more than what they think that they were.
Sure.
So I would love to hear how that journey happened and what was the turning point. I'm sure before you rise up, there's always the deepest of the deepest pits.
Sure. Well, motivation is not constant, okay? So even motivate people have low days.
Right.
But what drives you is your goals. So I was always very clear with my goals. I always knew what I wanted to achieve. I quantified it. I set timescales. Now, also, my threshold for pain is a lot more than most people. So when you go through change is painful. Okay. What I do is I just face the pain and break through it, because my capacity for risk is very high. So when you decide to leave a job, you have to be able to take the hit of worrying about the next bill and so forth. So how to keep your motivation is, first of all, people are motivated by two factors. One is to gain pleasure, and one is to avoid pain. Right. Okay. Now, I had so much pain in my life that my motivation was not to go back, because I know how hard it is to sleep in the car, and I know how hard it is not to be able to pay your bills or your children not go to school. Right. So that people say, well, that's not a very good positive motivator. Okay. Yeah. I don't live there, but I don't want to go back to it. So I use that as a motivating to take myself forward and furthest away from the pain of the past. At the same time, so that's the going away from. Right. Then you need to go towards. So what happens is, I do want to have my yacht. So I have a clear image of my yacht, and I dream from it. So in my mind, I meditate and I sit in that yacht, feel the breeze in my face, the sun on my head, and the music, and my wife and children running around the yacht. I imagine it, and your subconscious mind drives you there. So opportunities land. Right. So to get motivated, you have to know exactly where you're running away from, or you're going away from, and also where you're going towards. So you got that pull and push, which is doubly powerful. Yeah. Most people are in the comfort zone. Okay,
Right.
I'm never good when I'm comfortable.
Right.
So I always push myself into a very uncomfortable position. That's where I become a gladiator. And I think gladiators are born through uncomfortable positions. So a few times in my life, like when I went to the UK, age 13, I couldn't speak English. I was bullied every day by my teachers, by my peer group. I was called Black Cherry, Wog, name it, I was called it. And to the point that even now, age 53, I walk with a little bit of my head goes down, because for so many years I was embarrassed of who I was. So even now I consciously have to lift my head. So that was tough. I learned martial arts to be able to stand up against the bullies. That didn't work. So I did everything I could not to allow them to defeat me. And learned to speak English without a bit of an accent, because I used to support Liverpool. Someone said, what team do you support? I said, Liverpool. And I had my ass kicked because I said Liverpool rather than Liverpool, right? So I decided that I was going to speak English perfectly.
Right.
So, and it wasn't easy, but I wasn't going to allow the bastards to defeat me, if you don't mind me using
that's okay.
bad words.
That's okay.
So, yeah, because this life is so much worth so much. Don't waste it. It's a gift.
Yes.
And I think 1 in 500 million chance of us being here.
Right.
And life's given us a gift, so why waste it? So, and also, if you gave me $1 million, I'll look after your $1 million more than I would look after my own.
Right.
Okay, and it's often the case. People just blow their own time, blow their own money. What I do is I try to make sure that at the same time, don't worry, I look after myself, but I make sure I equally look after my family.
Right.
So I want my wife to have the best life. I want my children to have the best life. I want my mum to have the best life. So they're also a driving force. And also we have a school that we support, orphanages in Thailand where we live. So contribution, giving, educating, they're also ways of growth without just being me.
Yeah.
So I hope that kind of explains.
It does. And one thing I could take away from that conversation was that it's very uncomforting that people, like you said, people tend to waste away their own lives. Like you said, the $1 million example,
Yes.
right? So people are I don't know why people are so comfortable in the comfortable zone, and yet they are complaining.
They can complain because complaining is easy, right? And when you complain, you're getting love and connection from others. So they have a need for love and connection, to be heard and pour you. But you know what? To put that remote control down, pick up your gym bag and go to the gym is a lot more painful than actually sitting there eating chips and complaining, right? So, and it's the same with life. Okay, so yes, they're in a comfort zone, but they don't want to get uncomfortable enough to go to the next level. So they just stay where they are,
right? Because
it's too easy. And also, life is a pattern of habits. So to get into a habit, like what I say in my training course, is that you don't realize that when you wake up in the morning, you put your same leg in your trousers first, without even thinking. If you tomorrow morning consciously wake up and try to put the other leg in your trousers, you'll fall.
Right.
Such a simple task. But in life, it's too uncomfortable change, so they stay where they are. And that's what it is. And to be honest with you, when I arrived here in Dubai 10 years ago, came with $1,000 in my pocket, less than $1,000. I had somebody stalking me on the internet, creating loads of bad websites, untrue websites about me. So if I met you and we decided to do business together, next day you Google me, you see horrible, untrue things said about me, and you'll cancel. So I had no reputation here. Zero came to the country. It was 2009, worst time in Dubai's history. So everything was against me, but I wasn't going to fail, right? Because my kids weren't going to school. Yes, we had no food on our table. My diet was 2 coffees and a sugar donut a day. My laptop, I used to go to places where there was free internet, like hotel lobbies and coffee shops. And after a while, they throw me out because I wasn't buying anything. So I've been there, and I just decided that it wasn't going to happen. So that wasn't going to happen to me for the rest of my life. But then what will happen is you set your goals, 6 months goals or yearly goals. You achieve it. Guess what happens? You get comfortable.
Yeah.
So you got to keep changing your goals.
Right.
You got to move. And it's easy. It's like Muhammad Ali said, it's easy when you want to get to the peak of being the world champion, but it's toughest when you want to stay there.
Right.
You see? So most people grow when they hit the bottom. That's where change comes in. But great people decide to change before they hit the great the bottom of the pan.
That's
the
a great
total
lesson.
pain.
That's a great
Yeah,
lesson.
I say that to my son. Do you want to learn from my mistakes that cost me my hair, 30 years of my life? I had a heart attack 10 years ago.
Right, yeah.
All that health issues and pain, or just, you want to go through yourself. You save yourself 30 years, millions of dollars, heartache and pain, yeah, and then you're only 25. You'll be a multi-millionaire by the time you're 30.
Right.
So he's wise. He listens to me. Sometimes I don't give him an opportunity not to.
You're lucky.
But yeah, exactly. But I have two sets of children, one from my first marriage, one from my second. My first was seen daddy suffer.
Right.
My second one's had it really good. And I'm working with my wife, and I'm hoping that my second two boys from my second marriage appreciate what they have.
Right.
Because they haven't seen mom and dad suffer.
Right.
You see? So I'm hoping and praying I can put those values or introduce them to the values in their lives without them having to go through pain. Yeah. So training my first was a lot easier because they saw daddy go through pain. The second haven't. So.
All right. And as you were transforming into this success story and building this company and everything, was there anybody that you could speak to, any mentor, somebody who was guiding you, or it was just your motivation, your self-motivation?
No one I can recall. Because I come from a very small family. I didn't have a father, so mine was books and YouTube clips, and really just pretending that I was a friend of Richard Branson, pretending I was a friend of Bill Gates. So I would say, I would do this. What would they advise me if they were here?
Right.
And the answers again are there, depending on the quality of questions you ask. Now, when you say you're successful, I kind of cringe. Okay, and I need to work on my ego a little bit more because I don't really think I'm successful. I really don't. You see, it's all comparative.
Because you keep on increasing and then escalating those goals.
See, to somebody, if me 10 years ago was looking at me now, I'd be like, wow, I'd love to have a life like him. Nice lifestyle, flies everywhere, business or first class, and these cars and stuff. But to me, I'm not successful at all because I'm work in progress. You see, so I thank you, and saying that in front of your viewers, and I guess to some people, we have 100 and odd staff working for us now in a very short period of time. But honestly, it all came from our right values.
Right.
What I can tell people is, don't force the issue, don't force being rich, don't force. Yes, do the right things, and you will attract wealth.
Right.
Most people try to constantly go for the money, constantly, and it shows. The energy shows. It shows. When I had no money, I couldn't teach people how to make money because my values and what I was saying were in imbalance. You see, they weren't in synergy. But when I'm making money and I'm teaching people, suddenly I'm attracting people who are willing to pay me great amounts of money for those teachings because I'm in synergy.
Yeah.
And another thing was valuing yourself. I need to value myself more as my value to the marketplace goes up. Here's an interesting thought. When I came here for the first 4 years, I was just on my own business consultant. And for the same service that I was providing, I was charging, I think, 3,500 dirhams a month. Then I got fully booked 7 days a week, working 2 clients a day. And I achieved my pinnacle. I couldn't achieve more because I only was so much time in a day. So I sacked all my clients, and people who knew me were going crazy. And I doubled my price, doing the same thing as I was doing before. Not 1 ounce extra. I got fully booked after 3 months. So I doubled my...
That's interesting.
I doubled my fees. I doubled my income.
Right.
Doing exactly the same thing by sacking the clients who couldn't afford me, and I just upped my price. Okay? And then guess what happened? I was charging 7,000 dirhams a month, and I thought, I want to earn more. Sacked those clients and doubled my price again to 15,000 a month. Okay? Fully booked after 3 months. Doing exactly the same thing.
So what does this say about consumer behavior?
No, it's not consumer behavior. That's my point. So I have my own mental thoughts.
You were
9 months,
underselling yourself.
9 months before, I thought that's how much I was worth.
Yeah.
3 months later, I thought that's how much it was worth. 9 months later, I thought that's how much it was worth. And the market pays you what you think you're worth.
Right.
You see? I was doing exactly the same thing, probably actually less when they were paying me more because I was tired. Yeah, when I had no money to eat, I was a lot more motivated than when I was earning 100,000 a month. So you get paid today what you think you're worth in the marketplace. It's not the market. When you hear, don't listen to the news. When people are talking about the market's going down, there's no less Ferraris and Lamborghinis in the streets. There's actually billionaires and multimillionaires are increasing all the time.
Right.
You see? It's where we focus on.
But then how do people get through this mentality in a corporate world?
Well, when somebody later in life, the more harder it is because you've had your environment who's conditioned you that money is the root of all evil, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are bad people. It's all lies. Most rich people are good people.
Mm-hmm.
Most rich people are good people. So if you say like pink elephant, that's what you think about automatically, you're pink elephant. So start changing the way you think and you think to yourself. Now, when I sit with someone, close family members, and they watch news all the time and they say something negative, I just walk off. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to entertain it. Or when I sit down with peer group business owners and they talk about our clients don't pay, I'll just say, I'm sorry, I don't have that payment policy. I'll walk off. Because all my clients pay up front.
Right.
You see? That's the rule I set. So their issues is not my issues. So don't entertain it. And then decide your conditioning, how it's changed the way you think. Because as human beings, we can change anytime we wish.
Right.
Because being happy is not a coincidence, it's a decision. You wake up in the morning with migraine or pains and aches, but it's a decision to smile. It's a decision to be happy, right? So be aware of your decisions. Okay? And the way you talk to yourself changes your behavior changes your actions, and your actions become your legacy. Right? So it's all linked to the way you speak. So change the way you speak to yourself. Be aware of your dialogue. If your dialogue in your head doesn't serve you, don't entertain it. Change it to positive dialogue. So it's so easy because I've worked for people many years, and I'm sitting there and somebody complains as a telesales, or somebody complains, and it's so easy to go, they're horrible, aren't they? The prospect said this, and training of this company is not good. But looking back now, I wish I'd never entertained that conversation, because who did it serve? Not me.
Right.
You see, and it's the same when you're a student. My children, yes, they get into dialogue to be accepted by the peer group. Screw the peer group.
Right.
Yes, set yourself higher peer group. How do rich people think? How do rich people talk? And if you don't know any rich people, watch the YouTube clips, read the books, listen to the tapes. Yes, and I was listening to someone. They said somebody very successful, and said many people come and ask me for money or jobs, but nobody comes to say I want to learn from you. There are so many people. There are so many people who are successful, who people like me never approach them and say, hey, listen, I just want to learn from you, because what I can learn from you is priceless. Right? It is, exactly. So, and also I believe there's a sense of people feel that they own it. There's a sense of they don't what's the word I'm looking for?
Privilege, ownership.
No, they're like entitlement. Thank you. There's a sense of a lot of people sense of entitlement. Yes, like I'll put a job advert and somebody, honestly, 99% of people don't know how to apply for a job. The first thing you say, how much? Can you believe it? They feel they're entitled to the job. Their right is to ask me how much I'm going to pay them. Now, if you want to work for somebody, well, you got to say, what are you going to bring to the table?
Right.
Yes, and what you become in the job, because what you're getting paid now is irrelevant.
Right.
Yes, it's to do with the value you bring to the corporation. So it's all to do with the individual's mentality and not having this entitlement mentality. Because the universe is full of abundance, okay, but it doesn't owe you anything.
Right.
The universe doesn't owe me nothing, okay? Because if it's action and reaction, okay? If I'm consistently giving, the universe will consistently give back. Okay, people are too inconsistent. You know about podcasts. If you're continuously adding to your library, you can sleep at night and you got 6 months of podcasts, right? Yeah. So the effort you put in gives you that comfort of sleeping at night, knowing your business is in a good place. Right. But people go in, out, and they wonder why their life is in, out.
Yeah.
And, consistency is key. It's key. Consistent discipline. Consistency in everything. I say that as human beings, we're creatures of habits. So we tend to go to the same coffee shops or restaurants, and we even tend to sit in the tables in the same coffee shops and restaurants, even if we know the coffee's not very good. Okay, because they're consistently offering you maybe great service, but the coffee's not very good.
Right.
So as a consumer, you know consistently what you're going to get. Okay.
Right.
Now, if you imagine, if you go to a restaurant or a coffee shop, that one day the coffee is good, one day isn't. One day service is good, one day it isn't. You stop going.
Yes.
Right, because they're not consistent in providing you a service, whether it's good or bad. Consistency is key.
Yeah. So whatever level you are, you have
Be
to
consistent.
be consistent and then grow from there.
Yeah, and then if you decide that your level of risk, Tony Robbins says, the quality of your life depends on the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. Okay, so my mom, for instance, she's had it very tough. She can't handle the amount of uncertainty that I can handle.
Right.
So her quality of life will massively suffer if she takes the kind of risk that I take. Right? So she's comfortable and she's accepted it. With me, I'm never comfortable. You know, if I'm comfortable, I can't sleep. Yeah.
I have a question.
Certainly. No, please.
I want to know, when you're looking at resumes and you're hiring people, what is that one thing that that tells you that this is the person I want to work with me or work for me in my organization?
Great question. 99.9% of resumes are lies. I've never, ever, ever, ever in the last 35 years of business seen a CV where he says, I got fired, or I got caught with my hand in the till, or never, right? But people are getting fired all the time. So I don't look at CVs. I ask for a covering letter, a heartfelt letter.
Yeah.
Okay. And the question I ask is, why are you the superstar I'm looking for?
Right. Yeah.
And they should write a covering letter explaining that, because that explains the emotional side of things, rather than the CV that's been manipulated and changed to make them look like the best thing since sliced bread. And the funny thing is, I apply for put a job online for a female receptionist. 50% of the people who apply are male. Yeah, engineers.
They just want to.
They don't even. They just mass
Yeah.
resume.
Yeah.
So I don't look at resumes anymore. A friend of mine, the owner of Yo's Sushi, Simon Woodruff, he used to say, "I only hire lucky people." So he used to get the CVs and divide them into half and throw half in the bin. So they're the unlucky people, right? So so there's different ways of recruiting and there's different values.
Lesson learned in CV is not important.
The covering letter explaining what they're going to get with you, because you're going to be longer in a job than you are going to be in your marriage. True, longer hours in a day.
Yeah.
And it is, end of the day, feelings and relationships and happiness. Nobody wants to be with a miserable person.
Right.
Nobody. Whether you're a salesperson, you're a colleague, everyone wants to be with a happy, positive, motivated person, because they attract positivity.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And basically, in this day and age, it's not about my CV that I send to you. I mean, you will have my entire profile. I have my entire life online. Even if I'm lying, like you said, I'm a self-motivated person, blah, 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 high achiever.
Check and
but
find.
my feed says
Yes.
otherwise.
Yes.
There you go. So it's very, very easy to judge people now
Very.
because of social media and all.
Very.
But that also falls a little bit towards the negative side. People
Yes.
are faking their lives online.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So if I can't drive a Bentley, I post a picture next to it,
Yes.
right? That kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Who are they fooling?
Themselves. Unfortunately, people
Themselves.
don't realize that,
Yes.
and unfortunately, somehow they get more comfortable in their
Yes.
lives like that.
Because to them, what others think is far more important than what the reality
Yes.
is. I call it the bathroom moment. During the day, as a mother, a father, or a businessman, you wear different hats.
Yeah.
So you're a father, you're an accountant, you're a husband, and you wear different hats. And I said the only time you're actually real is when everybody's gone to bed, you go into the bathroom, you lock the door, and you close the cabinet, and you see yourself.
Right.
And in that instant, you have an instant dialogue, an honest dialogue. Yeah, with no hats on. You say, I cheated my way through today, or I had a really good day, I achieved a lot, I didn't do much, I could have
Right.
gone to the gym, I could have eaten better, I had that extra chocolate or whatever. You have that honest conversation.
Right.
So I call it the bathroom moment. That's where it's real. That's where it's real. So I often say, put your ego aside, have a bathroom moment. Yes? Are you really happy with your life?
Right.
Yes, because here's the thing. Most people don't do anything because of fear of what other people think of them.
Of course, yeah.
So if you are posting what other people think, their positive or negative response affects your life. You're not going to go anywhere in life, right?
No.
Because you're going to listen to their opinions more than your own.
Yeah. And the world will always judge you, no matter who you are, what you are.
Yeah, correct. And also, let's say you ask the opinion of people very close to you. What are they going to say? I've had people come to me with the worst business ideas on the planet. I said, have you done absolutely, I did market research. Who do you ask? My mother, my father, my uncle, my sister? Of course they're going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Right? So go to people who actually really truthfully want the best for you, not just want to please you, so they don't want to hurt your feelings. So your market, and also when people do market research, make sure it's over 100 people.
Right.
Some people could make 3 telephone calls and they go, that was market research. Yes, I said, no, 3 people is not, it's just an opinion. Do over 100, then tell me it's market research.
All right. So now in your current in your company, you consult with and you manage marketing strategies, sales strategies, branding strategies for companies now, and you do so much of training content now. Are you mentoring somebody, or are you looking at somebody developing under your umbrella, growing into somebody that you could leave as a legacy, or call them?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm blessed that my first son is 25, next month 26. He pretty much runs most of the organization, and it's digital. I'm too old to be digitally inclined or have any interest. My laptop breaks down, I'll just change it. Or, I don't have a programmer look at it, or the key's stuck, change the laptop. So with him, he loves that stuff. So 65% of our business is online, Google advertising. We're top 3% Google partners in the whole of MENA region.
Wow.
So what we do is that we have a hospitality company, training, recruitment, lots of different businesses. My idea is to work as little as possible, to spend as much time educating the masses as much as possible, people who really want to grow.
Right.
Because my great need is contribution. I have a huge need for love and contribution, to giving. Whilst educating people like my son, I have 5 or 6 key people in my organization that they all lead the different departments, working with them to become more entrepreneurial, being there to guide them rather than manage them. So that's my goal. Now, I'm constantly thinking of bringing out new ways where through my training, people can have a life-changing experience, positive life. Because most people go to training and they get motivated for about 3 hours, and then nothing happens, and they become course junkies. I really want, and I'm constantly asking this question, how can I move people in such a way that my training becomes the last one to implement the change?
Right.
And then the next one's to take them to the next level.
Right.
But not to keep going back to the same training courses over and over again, complaining, being stuck. So, and my legacy is that when I die, and we're all going to die, lots of people attend my funeral. That's really important to me, that they go, wow, 20 years ago, I get emotional thinking about it, that 20 years ago, meeting Dariush changed my life.
Right.
Yeah, I want my kids to see that. Yeah.
Wow, that's a beautiful thought. That's a beautiful thought. Wow. Okay. So fascinating. I mean, the way you've turned around.
That's something that I want.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Really? Yeah, because that's the message you're sending to your children, that your dad did something great. Because nobody cares about Disney. Nobody cares about Ford. No, it's just a badge on a car. Disney is just a multi-billion-dollar organization. Somewhere along the way, that goal of Walt Disney or Henry Ford got lost. You see, they just became a badge.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way, you have to leave a legacy. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Right. 100%. Yeah. True. That makes a lot of sense.
Sorry. I get emotional when I talk about my kids.
No, that's. I think that's a fair thing to do, because see, when we're talking about motivation, I agree 100% that people usually get motivated for a very short time, and then they go back into their comfort zone, start complaining again, and all of those things, and then they would attend another motivational talk or training session, and then the same thing keeps on repeating. But then as a trainer, so I come from a training background as well. So as a trainer, what would you recommend, or what do you look forward to from the trainees, from your audience, to implement at the end of your session so that continues?
The commitment of repetition. Repetition is mother of change. Okay, so I bite my nails on. It's a bad habit. When I watch football and drive, That's the time I'll bite my nails without even thinking. But if I did this for 21 days, stop biting my nails, I'll stop for the rest of my life. But somewhere along the way, the desire to change hasn't been great enough. So one, you have to build a desire. Second thing is the consistency. Make sure you consistently, for half an hour a day, you listen to my podcast, your podcast, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, Robin Sharma, constantly Jim Rohn. Make sure, because when I was young, I had no access to this. I didn't know what a motivational book was. I had to go to my library, which is a 2-hour ride and drive and walk, and then hope that the book I wanted wasn't being read by someone. And sometimes I get there after all that trip and somebody was reading the book. I had to sit there and stare at them, make them feel uncomfortable for about 5 hours until they put the book down. And then when they put the book down, I'll pick it up and they say, library closes in half an hour. You know, and I had to wish for the same thing next day because there were reference books. Now, you can sit on the toilet, on the bus, anywhere, and Google any information you want on the planet. And he said, what's your excuse? And when I was younger, there was 3.5 billion people on the planet. There's almost 8 billion. There's twice as much opportunity. But
people don't look at it that way.
No, people look at it as there's twice as much, competition. Abundance or scarcity, right? Whatever you focus on, you get. So focus on abundance, right? Because if you're competitive, nobody remembers the second fastest man on the planet. Second fastest man on the planet, nobody knows who he is. But everybody knows Usain Bolt, right? It's the margin is so tight. So constantly, consistently through discipline, feed yourself with positivity, learn from the higher peer group, okay? Look at your life, who you're hanging around with. I'm very, very particular with who I hang around with, the type of conversations I have. I'm so sad. People think I'm mad or maybe negative or loner. I don't really care because I know I'm on the right path. I'd rather pick up a book and read a book for half an hour and talk shit to people. Yes? And fill my time with that. And that growth I get, I can't describe it. It's such an aphrodisiac. It's so motivating.
I think
action.
That's the biggest issue. People, instead of thinking about themselves, think of what other people are going to think about them. They buy stuff that they don't need to impress people that they don't like.
Well, the thing is, I'm a victim of that, and I'll explain to you why. Because you're 100% right, okay? Because this Christmas, I was like, what I need, I have everything you could imagine, right? Everything you could imagine I need. Here's the thing, unfortunately, no successful person wants to deal with an unsuccessful person. Unfortunately. Unfortunately, no positive person wants to work with a negative person. I'll say to you, unfortunately. Because when I lost everything, somebody recommended me to go and see someone for a job. And I was very frank and honest. I said, listen, I've lost everything. I've had a heart attack. I was a multimillionaire with like hundreds of staff. I've got nothing and I want to build my life. And he went, yes, yes, yes to my face. And went behind my back to the guy who recommended me and said, avoid this loser. Okay? Avoid this loser. And I was so hurt but motivated. I'm going to show you who this loser is. Yes? So I sent a picture of my Ferrari and the Bentley and everything to them. I said, can you send this to this guy? Said, this is what this loser has achieved. Yes? So I use that as a motivator. But here's the thing. Maybe I shouldn't have been so honest. Maybe I shouldn't have, because if he's successful, he's thinking, I'm going to inherit this guy's losses. He's going to drain my energy. So sometimes you have to act as if. You have to act as if you are successful. So it's just a matter of time. Now, if you can't back it up, then you're a liar. Okay? But there were times I was teaching people how to make money, and my class will finish, and their Porsches will arrive, then my Yaris. And they look at me like, he's teaching me how to make money, and he's got a rented Yaris, and I have a Porsche. So at that moment in time, I used to hide in the toilet for about half an hour until the cars went, and then my Yaris will come. But now I make I do want people to see me in a Bentley or a Ferrari, and because then they think I want to be like him. And believe me or not, and it's such a crappy thing to say, then it's not what you think having a, because after a week of sitting in a Ferrari or Bentley, it's just another car. Okay, you do feel good and you think this is a sign of what I've achieved in life. Okay, but the reason I have those cars is because people want to think that he's successful, is worth doing business with.
So your intention is not negative. You are not doing it to impress some people that you don't like. You're
No,
doing
it's
it
to
as a
attract,
motivation.
exactly, and motivate my motivation, and also
That makes all the
people
difference.
think he is successful, so maybe I should listen to him. He is successful. He has
Yeah,
got
exactly,
a business,
yeah.
and yeah,
See, that makes sense, no? Because that is all positivity. You are basically attracting people towards you to give them positivity and show them that motivation and action points to take,
yes.
rather than just making them jealous and feeling good about it.
Oh, there's no,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, so
Because we're not
that's the
jealous
core
people.
difference.
I don't understand why people can be jealous. But here's a funny thing. People don't get jealous. And we do come across jealous people in our life. And it's really, really strange. They don't get jealous because of the car or the lifestyle. Do you know what they get jealous about? That you're happy.
Yeah, yes.
That you're happy. They think you're lucky. Okay? They don't realize
deserve it.
you just landed on
Yeah.
it. Yes? You're just a happy guy. They don't realize that you didn't get sleep, the kids were up, or your kids are sick, or maybe you have financial issues.
Right.
But it's happiness is a decision, right?
Right.
And because you don't sit there, moan for 15 minutes, and then become happy, they think, and it's highlighting something in them that they don't like. Okay? So what I find is that, unfortunately, to stay happy and not to deal with, I've become an introvert. I've become an introvert. So on stage, I talk. The moment it finishes, I'm on my own with my family. I don't want to socialize with anyone. I don't want to know anybody because I'm protected.
Right.
It's got to a stage that I've become fragile because I've been too open to giving my love, and often it gets stamped on or hurt. So I didn't want to get hurt, so become an introvert.
And you get reality and reality check from family. They will
Yes.
always be honest with you.
Oh, tell me. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. I get that a lot. I get that a lot. Yes. So I think one of the fears of my wife, for instance, is the potential. Could have been that getting on stage in front of 1,000 people, I think will get to my head, and I'll become arrogant. But when you've lost everything, you know how easy it is that the universe or God or what can take it away from you. Okay, you never forget that humbleness. So I don't think arrogance will come. Maybe confident, but never arrogant. Yes.
Wow, that is a lot of takeaway, and I think for the listeners and the people who are actually looking forward to changing their lives, these are very, very good lessons to begin with.
Thank you, Farrukh.
And so one thing that I would want to specifically touch upon is in our current situation, circumstances, the economy. I know most of the people who are in a job situation are also dependent on how the economy works, how the company is performing, and all of that. And even as a single employee, if they are valuable and the company is somehow not profitable, they're still on fragile waters. But what should maybe 2 or 3 key things that a person should focus on to start to move towards happiness and financial freedom?
Yes.
Because as much as we say and we do believe that happiness is within you, but yes, external factors do affect it, and one of the biggest ones being financial freedom. So what's the first step? Because from your experience, you've seen highs and then lows and then highs again. And then what was that key mindset that made you click,
Yes.
and move into the direction of financial freedom? What were the actions that you took actually?
I think what led me to that was my heart attack. I was super fit, 27 kilos lighter than I am today. I was playing semi-professional squash, fit as a fiddle. In the gym, I had a heart attack. And then I realized, one, how fragile, I'm not Superman. And the second thing is, I looked at how I live my life. And I wasn't in the country that I really love living. I had a business, successful, but I wasn't doing what I really enjoyed. I didn't have the people that had the same values as me. Okay, so the first thing I'll say is I review your life, your values. It's okay to be in a job, but to be working with a company that has the same values as you. Okay,
Right.
If whatever you put in is not recognized, change jobs. Okay, because then you're not in charge of your destiny.
Right.
And when you're not in charge of your destiny, you're imprisoned. And when you're in prison, you're miserable.
Right.
Okay. Also, financial freedom doesn't make you happy. You're either happy or not miserable. You're happy or not happy. Okay. Financial freedom gives you a choice.
Right.
If you have more than two choices, then you got freedom.
Right.
If your choice is one, you're still in jail.
It's not a choice.
Okay.
Technically.
It's not a choice. Exactly. So you have to have more than 2 or 3 choices to be really happy. But happiness is within.
Right.
Okay. Money doesn't make you happy.
Right.
I know very rich and miserable people. Good people, but they're miserable. Okay.
Right.
They're lonely. They haven't found happiness. They can't find friendships because they think that maybe that friend wants them for the money or they're to take advantage there. I wouldn't want to be there.
Right.
So the first thing is write your values. Associate with people who have the same values. We have customers who are clients who are billionaires. Okay, I fire them. They can financially take care of us
Right.
for a long period of time. I fire them because they're dishonest. I value time. They turn up late all the time or cancel last minute. I don't want them in my life. So before, I was, for the sake of the money, I was dealing with people that didn't have the same values. Now people think I'm crazy or I'm sensitive. I'm damn right I'm sensitive. Absolutely, because I'm very sensitive to my values. Right? People may not like me, but they all respect me.
Right.
They think, oh, he's a sensitive prick. Yes, oh, he's this and that. Absolutely, because I have a manual behind you that's written all my values. Right? If you cross those values, once is okay, maybe it was a mistake. But if you cross it again, gone. Next. It's my favorite word in business. So get your values in order. What are you about? Are you surrounded with a company or businesses or associates or friends and family that have the same values? If not, so you can benefit yourself, give yourself a distance. Love them from distance.
Right.
Part with them. Okay? Look for, if you're in a job and you're in a great company, add value to their business and you'll grow within. If you're in a job that you don't like, look at other jobs. If you want to have another business, do something in the evenings. Set up a website, doesn't cost much. Go to Fiverr.com for $15. You have a logo. Stop looking at, oh, I don't have a business card, I can't do business. Rubbish, you don't need a business card. Actually, business cards are a point of failure. Okay, because people rely on a business card to sell you instead of themselves.
Right.
So if you want to do business, don't get yourself a business card. Build relationships. Okay, face to face. Don't have that as an anchor.
Right.
Yes. So look at what really you're passionate about, what your values are. Chase that dream. Do some market research. When you know you have a product or service that you can consistently work on, then eventually leave your job and work on your business. But again, you can do that because of the power of the internet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's possibilities everywhere. Possibilities everywhere. Just be aware of your internal dialogue. Look for solutions rather than focus on problems. And humanity has never had so much opportunity that we have today.
Yeah. True.
One question.
Anything.
What is your goal now? Your 6-month or 1-year goal? What is it that you want, that you have your eyes on, that you want to achieve now?
I think, thank you. What I like to do is have better staff. Okay, so you get to a pinnacle where some of the staff that served you, they can't serve you to the next level. So, and part with them in a wonderful way. I say life's a journey.
Right.
People hop on the bus or hop off. Okay, but it doesn't have to be a painful hop off. So sometimes when our staff leave, we have parties for them. Yes, and they say it was the best thing working for you was. So one is to change the core of my key staff, have higher caliber staff, pay more, get better staff, look at more events over the next year or two, because we were involved in an event 3 months ago with Tony Robbins. We actually sold over 10,000 tickets at the Coca-Cola Arena.
Oh, wow.
Whilst we weren't the organizer, we were the ticket salespeople. So I realized that we can actually sell tickets, right? So why can't we have our own event?
Right.
So what I would like to do is have more marginal events where 100 or 200 key people come in rather than 10,000. One, I don't have those deep pockets to have $5-6 million invested and hope that we're going to pack the stadium, and my heart can't handle it. So go into more events, put systems in place whereby if somebody wants to come and buy my business, they can, and it will continue running. Okay, at the moment, it's very much centralized around me. So put more systems in place. So I would say over the next 12 months, going to events, step up with the recruitment of key people and training them. And that's what we will do.
So what do you see when you're training people? What do you see yourself in them, or your like key people around you? Like you've got like 12 or 10 or 15. So do you want to see yourself in them, or you don't want to see yourself in them?
Amazing. I think bit of both. Emotionally, I want to see me in them, but the accountant can't be me, right? Because I'm a salesman.
Right.
He's the accountant, but the accountant has to have the same mentality that he's not in a job. Job stands for just over broke, right? So I want entrepreneurs in my organization, and then they can train the people in their jobs, right? So I'm looking for entrepreneurial mentality, at problem solvers, people looking at solutions rather than problems. Yes. You can't have too many bigger picture thinkers, otherwise you'll have mayhem. I'm a very bigger picture thinker. So a little bit of me and a little bit of detail, more educated than me, for instance. So those are the key things I'm looking for. But more than anything else, happy.
Yeah, that's
Happy people. Happy people. That's
What's
it.
that one core value that you want to give your 12-year-old son?
Ooh, one core value to give my...
Just one.
Balanced humbleness. Balance. Not if you're too humble, you get walked all over. Okay. If you're too arrogant, if you're too confident, you're too arrogant. A balanced humbleness. Yeah. People admire you for being humble, yet you're confident enough to have confidence and be a leader. So it's a balanced humbleness, I would say. That's the one. Love. Oh wow, love is a good one. By far, love. Before I came here, a friend of mine phoned up and said, before I had my second children, phoned me and said, hey Dariush, let me just give you one advice. You tell your kids you love them too much. You're all over them too much. And you'll spoil them. Mm-hmm. Okay? And he could have told me anything, and I would have taken it. But that was probably the worst thing he could say to me, because he just lost total respect. He said, thank you very much, goodbye. And I never stopped loving them. Now, here's the thing. Because my children's cups are full of love, they never love by. They never trade their deeds to get love back. Mm-hmm. That's really, I think, love. Love unconditionally and be loved unconditionally. Because your cup's full and it's right. Overflowing with abundance and love. They can be happy on their own. They can be happy with friends. Yeah, that love gives you that confidence inside. So love.
Love and humbleness. Yeah. Balance.
Yeah.
Balance.
You said once. I was a bit tight with you. Love and humbleness. Yeah, balanced. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because most people, have you ever gone through? You open the door for someone and they walk through. They don't even look at you.
Yeah.
And you want to kill them. Yes. Exactly. But that's love in a conditional way, right? Unconditional love is that you open the door, let them through. If they don't say thank you, you're not bothered. You love them anyway. See? So then
that takes a lot as a person to be at that point, at that level.
Then their cup is full of love.
Yeah.
They don't need somebody else's acceptance.
Right.
Yes, you open it up because you want to get love back. But do it. Who cares if they're saying yes or no?
Do it for the deal. Do it for the.
For yourself.
For
yourself. For yourself. You know who you are. You love yourself. Yeah? And when you love yourself, everybody loves you. Period. And if they don't, so what? Next.
Yeah.
You love yourself. You're a good person. You're a good, decent human being. That's it.
That's a lot of good values, and thank you very much for
Thank you,
all
Farrukh.
of that
Thank you.
advice, for that beautiful talk about humanity, motivation, happiness. And I really do hope our listeners get to achieve, just a little bit of takeaway from today's conversation. They realize the value they are. Everybody, I say everybody is a tremendous person inside.
Yes.
They just need to look back at themselves, have that bathroom mirror moment.
Yes.
And then really, really note down where they want to be in life.
Yes.
Start working towards that.
And it's okay. Wherever you are, it's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's judging.
Yeah.
But you can change.
Yeah.
Only you can change.
And you should not care about what people say about you or judge you or not.
Yes.
That should not matter to you. Because
One
at the end
thing-
of the day,
yes.
I think the race is only with yourself.
It is. And one more thing to the listeners, if you don't mind me saying. People think life is a sprint. It's not. It's a marathon.
No, it's a marathon, yeah.
It's a marathon. You see Arabs got talent and overnight people get rich. It was a jackpots they win. 1 in a billion chance, right? But most people have to graft every single day. So life's small changes. So to your listeners, don't expect to change and amazing things happen tomorrow. Be patient.
Right. Thank you very much for today, and I really look forward to meeting more.
Look forward
with you,
to that.
your training sessions, your podcast. It's great value, and I would urge my listeners and my viewers to subscribe to Dariush's podcast, subscribe to my podcast, share it across with your friends in your network. Would you want to please tell everybody your social networks, your social
Yes,
profiles,
certainly.
so they can get to you?
Dariush Soudi, Dariush, Soudi, Soudi, consultancy,
Right.
or consultant.
All right.
So either way, put my name,
Through
I'll appear
LinkedIn,
everywhere.
through-
LinkedIn, Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, the whole lot. So
All right.
thank you, Farrukh. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you
your
very
time.
much for today. Have a great day. And
I
I'll see you
appreciate
again.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is that good?